Welcome on into Daggerheart characters. It's time for the Unholy Warrior, the final video, maybe, that I will be recording in this stretch of videos. So I just got done recording for the Commoner, which is definitely one that I suggest going and checking out. I think it's a really fun area of fantasy that you don't ever see, at least not commonly, in fantasy, because who wants to be a commoner? But I think I really made something out of that that's pretty fun, so check that out, as well as the antithesis of that being the superhero build, which of course is very in line with becoming a superhero, which is what this game is all about, so just kind of taking that to its max as I could have. And then we have the antithesis of this was the Holy Warrior, so I don't know if that came out yet or if that's going to come out next week, but that's out there eventually, at least, as another build. The opposite of this, that uses the Splendor and that was the Blade and the Splendor. That was very much in line with a Seraph, but like a Paladin type of build, a little bit different than the Seraph, obviously, and different domain choices than you would have with the Seraph. And so in this instance, it is not the Midnight domain like I have over there on the screen. I don't have a Dread flag yet domain, so we're just going to use the Midnight as our surrogate there for that domain. Deal with it. But this is my first time delving into the Dread domain, using it to create a new class, so that's fun. Here we go. The Unholy Warrior. Unholy Warriors are playing with fire by falling short of fully devoting themselves to a god or completely committing to a pact, instead striving to out-manipulate the very forces from beyond that seek to control them. Their willingness to walk this fine line makes them formidable forces who inspire their allies while terrifying their foes. Their devotion, though perhaps unorthodox, fuels a relentless will that makes them unyielding in battle, fighting for themselves and those around them, unbound by an entity, despite maybe having some alliances on playing both sides of the field a little bit. I really like the flavor of this, what came out of it. It's been a while since I created it, though, so it's going to be a little bit like seeing some of these features for the first time. But I think so going back to like playing Magic days, I have always loved the flavor, just the builds where you take black and white cards, putting them together. The idea of not only stealing your opponent's health, but also taking that health and gaining health from it. I guess a very necromantic type of vibe in that sense. So these types of builds a lot of times really fit that type of vibe for me, that I just like them a lot. Starting evasion is 10, starting hit points is 6. For the class items, you can choose from a token from their first kill or a small gift received from a long-lost love. I think both of those can help to build that flavor a little bit of why this character has become who they are. For the hope feature, we have Steady Blade. Spend 3 hope to gain a +1 bonus to your proficiency until your next rest. So, pretty deadly there. And for your class feature, you get Consistent Blows. When you roll your damage dice, you can re-roll any 1s and 2s every time. So that's pretty strong there as well. For the Unholy Warrior subclasses, you can choose from the Dark Crusader or the Shadow Ascendant subclass. For the Dark Crusader, you can play it for resilience and combat effectiveness. And your spellcast trait is going to be your presence trait. For your foundation features, you get Physical Shield. When you would take damage, you can mark a stress to mark any number of armor slots. And your Godly Shield, once per rest, when you take damage, you can mark a hope to reduce the damage by 1 threshold. The GM rolls a d20. On a 1, they lose a fear. And then we've got our specialization feature, Fortification. Gain a +3 bonus to your major damage threshold and a +5 bonus to your severe damage threshold. Is this over? Should it be +2 or +4 more commonly? Since this is the only feature that you're getting here, I boosted it up a little bit. Because I also didn't necessarily think that these are like overpowered in any way either, so that's why a pretty significant boost there. But also you're getting this fortification from both this holy side and this unholy pact that are both fortifying you. So that's some of that extra fortification that you're getting. And then for the mastery feature, we have long lasting. After long rests, place a number of tokens equal to your spellcast trait on this card. When you deal damage to a target, you can spend 1 token to force them to mark 1 hit point in addition to your damage dealt. Look at that. That's pretty nice. And it looks like, shadow features. There should just be... No, that's wrong. And once again, mastery feature. I have let myself down by not getting that correct. And now for the Shadow Ascendant. Play the Shadow Ascendant to limit your opponent's combat effectiveness. So it's kind of the opposite there. Spellcast trait is still going to be presence for this. And your foundation features. You start off with Slippery. Once per rest, after an attack roll is made against you, you can add your spellcast trait to your evasion score. And you've got Deadly Redirect. Once per long rest, when an attack roll made against you succeeds, you can redirect the damage to a different adversary within a different adversary within close range. There is a different redirect feature in the Bone Domain. I like this a little bit more than that one. I think it's more reliable to work, in my personal opinion there. And then we have our specialization feature, Retribution. At the beginning of each session, place a number of tokens equal to your spellcast trait on this card. When the GM gains a fear, you can spend 1 token to gain a hope. Or, when you gain a hope, you can spend 1 token to force the GM to lose 1 fear. Clear any remaining tokens at the end of each session. So, just a little bit extra gaining of hope or reducing of fear for your GM. Once again, just this kind of playing both sides of the field thing there in terms of the gaining hope when your GM gains fear or the opposite. And then we've got our mastery feature, Dread Wave. Once per long rest, force the GM to lose a fear and make a spellcast roll against all adversaries within far range of yourself. Each adversary that you succeed against marks a stress. So once again, was a bit of a focus here of not becoming overpowered with these abilities, and so I did feel like we've got some, fairly strong abilities here early on, so this can affect a lot of creatures. Once again, can also it automatically reduces your GM's effectiveness as well, so I thought that was still, nicely balanced, but also not like overpowered in any way. So yeah, you're playing with life and death here a lot, and causing your opponents to be less deadly in one way or another very often. So I really think that there's some cool flavor here going on for the Unholy Warrior between once again the Dread Domain cards and the Splendor Domain cards. So these also stack nicely with the Dread Domain here. And I think you get maybe a little bit more stacking with the Splendor Domain on this end here, in terms of which side of the fence you lean on a little bit more heavily, at least character-wise. That's it. Nice and quick there. I covered in the intro some of the more recent videos that I have at least recorded, and that will be eventually out there, if not already out there on the channel for you to check out. Lots to check out with. As always, you can find in the description this build, so do not fret. You don't need to continue to rewatch this or rewrite it yourself. It is available in the description. There's a link to a Google Doc where you could download it, print it. I don't know if you can download it, but you can print it. You can copy and paste it, I think, based on how I have it saved out there. And then you can also, always appreciate it if you decide to take this out for a spin. Let me know that you're doing that first place, because that's just cool to hear. But also, come back with any kind of balancing issues that you came across, any wording that you had concerns about, even just looking at this. Let me know so I can always clean it up. That document that's available to you automatically refreshes whenever I add to it, change it. And so for the life of my lifetime, maybe, if I get any kind of feedback, I will look into it and potentially update those as well. So that is the Unholy Warrior. Peace out.